I don't think I have such a thing as a 9 to 5. I work probably 7 days a week, but whenever it suits.
I had quite a thick business plan. It was about 30 pages, just like a lot of illustrations and stuff that funny enough, this doesn't look like anything that was on the business plan. So that's how much it changes.
I definitely didn't think I was going to do this. Like, I went to uni and did like a course called Land Economy, which is economics, law and real estate finance. So I saw myself going off and like being a big banker in the city or like doing wealth management or something like that.
I picked up a book one day, which was HTML for Dummies, I think.
Marbek start with a bomber jacket. So we asked some artists to wear it.
And I mocked one up. I came back home, I took one of those pouches and I cut it up and I put a zip on it. And I showed it him down and I said, do you think you can find me someone to make these? He said, oh yeah, easy. Well, it wasn't easy. It took us a year to figure out this zip.
There were a lot of creative directors that just didn't have a club or someone to really, spend time with. So we founded it just saying, let's do an event somewhere. We started in Amsterdam, and for the last 13 years, we're doing events every 6 months. We've done 28 events around the world.
I started running club nights at university because I felt there was just nothing for my type of music. So like there was no hip hop, there was no grime, there was no garage. So we started like running these events called Creem. Basically from there we thought, let's just do an end of year party sort of thing outside in the summer.
What I do is I'm a technologist, ex-developer, ex-programmer, and I currently run an agency.
I plunged right in, but that's only, I think that depends on everybody's circumstances. I think I was able to go back and live with my mum and then figure out what I wanted to do. I think as soon as I realised that we had money to do what we wanted to do, then I was like, I'm out. I'm going to fully focus on
For me, it's like a 10 to 10 job. Like, my free time is in the morning, I go gym, and then I'm in the office for 10. A lot of my team is part-time, so they come in after their actual office hours, and then we work on into the evening. So it's a full-on job. But yeah, as I say, I get through it because I love it.
Well, the strapline is make your life a doddle, right? But it hasn't exactly made my life a doddle. It's very, very hard work. When you run your own business, you need 18 hours a day is really not uncommon. And then when you're juggling that with raising a young family, then that makes it doubly challenging.
But the easiest way I can explain this is to not be prescriptive. So don't look at somebody else and think, I want to be exactly what that person is. Look at them and think, I want to be similar to what that person is.
I think a good quote was, success is measured by your ability to go from failure to failure. And as long as you're happy to fail at something and keep moving and go ahead, then you'll get there in the end. You'll be successful, and that's what entrepreneurship's about. So failure to failure to failure. Hopefully you get to success, and that's it really.
So I do what I love, and I believe if you're doing what you love, when bad things happen, you don't call it you don't call it bad. You just call it an experience. I try and fail fast. If I try something it doesn't work, I don't dwell. I move on. I try not to hold any grudges. I try not to build any bad relationships. And I believe that respecting people you work with and people who have respect for you takes you a long way. So I don't sell my soul to anyone. If I believe that somebody I'm working with isn't in the best intentions for the collective, I won't hang around. I will go and do my own thing.
But fundamentally, the minute you're not enjoying what you do, start looking for something else.
So advice is just try, don't be afraid of trying. I think is the first step. And I think basically to start a business is always hard. You have like some down step, but you have also really good one. Like the fact that we opened this store, it's a really exciting moment for us. Because we was online since 3 or 4 years now. And don't be afraid and just try to make your dream come true.
Most of the limitations of people in careers is not the skill set, it's the character. Yeah. So when you see very wealthy or rich people, the money doesn't come easy. There's usually a sacrifice somewhere, or there's usually a lot of hard work somewhere. So don't be afraid of hard work, number one. Don't be afraid to fail. Number two, don't try and be perfect. Don't be a unicorn, because it doesn't exist. And the fourth one I would say is never put yourself in a box. So a lot of times you hear people say, I want to be this, I want to be that, I want to be this, and they just 100% don't look at anything else. But the world doesn't work like that. You need to always have a little bit on the left and right. Focus on what you want to be, but keep left and right a little bit open, and it gives you leeway. And the more exposed you are, the better you'll be.
Most of my things have fallen off the back of a hobby. And I think there is a lot to be said about spending time and finding something you're passionate about. I think I have so many people that said, I want to do a startup. I don't think that's the way to start it. I think what you've got to do is go, okay, let's find something I'm passionate about. Let me do it in my spare time. Let me de-risk myself by still having a job. But if you can then find that passion and start looking at going, okay, how can I earn money from this passion? That's a far easier way of doing it.
So a lot of people ask me about, I work late hours sometimes. And for me, I don't see it as working late hours. I just see it as doing what I love. So I have friends who would say, oh, you work all night or you work, or I don't see it as... So it's a passion, it's not just work. Okay. And even if it was just work, I would still find a passion within that work. Yeah. So I might do a 9 to 5, but I might choose to hang out with the people I work with, or I might get to know what they're like outside the office, or I might get to know what their drivers are. And like I said, agencies or companies are just buildings full of people. If you understand the people, things tend to work out okay. If you only think about yourself and what your goals are and how much money you want to make, you tend to step on a lot of people when you're doing that. And yes, you might make a lot of money, but you're not going to have the experience you need for when something bad happens, if it does. It might not, but if it does, you're not going to have that experience. So you probably fall down flat on your face.
I don't think you're 100% sure about anything. You need to just analyze what you're doing and the business around you. And you're always going to have down period and up period, but you need to be aware of. Yeah. And I think the way of every business is work. So you just need to keep going because the failures, I think, that are basically bring something bright, I think.
Do you face any challenges?
Yes, quite a lot.
Such as?
Debt. Stress, working 18, 20 hours for maybe 5 years. I have a son who's 18, so I'm not exactly an old man. I had my son when I was 23. I had my daughter when I was 27, so I had my whole family to look after as well. Just general life problems, mortgages, bills. The world has a funny way of throwing you a curveball when everything's going perfect. Like I said, don't be prescriptive. As long as you understand that there's a journey you're on, and that journey has many roads, you shouldn't throw yourself away just because it didn't go the way you prescribe it. So a lot of people give up because they prescribe. They go, I need to buy that house, that car, and live in that place and have that kind of woman. And if any of those don't work, they kind of give up and go back to ground like the beginning. You should always be flexible because life is never straightforward.
And then this is the first year I've come out of uni and been like, this is all I'm going to do full time, which has been very difficult because financially, it's all the big reward is at the end effectively. So you've got to make sure you can tie yourself over throughout the year. So I kind of took the leap of faith and said I'll go full time on this to try and make it work.
We work to live, we don't live to work. So it's very simple. If you don't like your job but it pays the bills and you're happy with your job, even though you don't like it, stick with it till you find a better one. If it makes you miserable and you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do that job, go find another job. Because if you bring your bad vibes from your home into your office, you poison everybody else, and then it gets worse.